Well, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Let the Truth Be Told. I thank the Lord for being here today and thank the Lord for Jason and UPTV allowing us another opportunity during this new year to be in front of the cameras once again. I thank the Lord for all the television audience that's out there that watch the television program every Sunday night. And so we continuously try to move forward within this new year. And our topic today is starting a new year based upon old stuff. And so we all have a New Year's resolutions. We all have new things that we're trying to create within this new year in 2015, coming out of 2014. And so many times we try to bring new things into a new year, toting old baggage. And so as we try to leave those old things behind, it's a biblical scripture that says, behold, all things are new, leaving old things behind, So bringing new stuff into existence and trying to create new things into your life. Old things are passed away, and behold, all things are new. And so as we start afresh this year, start afresh. As I was looking at my paper and as I was reflecting on people, places, and things, cutting other people out your life, things that old relationships, it don't have to be a husband and a wife relationship. It can be a friend. It can be just people that you're connected with, leaving them behind. Not everybody want to go. And so as you get ready to move forward within your new year, not everybody wants to go. Places, some of the places that you go to, sometimes we outgrow things and we grow out people and we outgrow places. And so as we start to try to create new places and new destinies to go to, remember, don't everybody want to go. And I always add into the repertoire of the devil's here to kill, steal, and destroy. So as he tried to create these new visions, these new ideas for you and your new destinies, you got to understand everybody don't want to go to a new place. Some people just stuck into a rut. And so as God has in store some things in you and some new visions in you and new inspirations into you, you have to try to move forward and step into your place of newness. Step into those new places. It might be somewhere out of town you want to visit. So many times a lot of people that I know, they're stuck in Champaign and they don't try to go anywhere else. And as the Lord has blessed me to try to travel the whole continent and outside this continent here and go overseas and see different things, see a new way of life, how other people live their lives. So it creates a new vision. It creates new inspiration for you as you go and you visit other people and their other ways of life. So as I've traveled to California and North Carolina and Mississippi and Atlanta and Colorado, oh, beautiful Colorado Springs, beautiful, just beautiful scenery and beautiful scenic areas, unless you know that this world is vast. So as you try to create new places that you go to, and it might not just be, new places as far as going out of town, start going to the gym. Something simple like the gym. Start adding something new to your life. Add new to your New Year's resolution repertoire. So start adding new things to your life. And we say things. So many times we're connected to vices. So many things that hold us back from our newness. Things we love to do. Well, sometimes, things that we love to do might not be good for you. A lot of times they say food and diet and things of that nature. And a lot of times when you talk to nutritionists, they'll say, well, if it tastes good, it's not good for you. And so a lot of times we like a lot of sugar. And I know me and my girl, we always talk about, people putting sugar in everything. And as we ate a meal the other day and the spaghetti tasted more sugary-ish than it tastes Italian. And so many times people try to put sugar into everything. Well, it might not be good for you. And so a lot of times when we're trying to change things, these vices, a lot of times these vices just hold us back. And I always remember the devil's here to kill, steal, and destroy. So he fixes it up just the way we like it. So if we like a lot of sugar, he's going to put a lot of sugar into it, a lot of little things that we like, a lot of little spices that we like to try to add something and try to keep us held back from a place, from connecting to new people, connecting to new places, and connecting to new things that might be beneficial for us. And so, we've covered so many different things. I got so many different topics to cover today for this new program. Just starting a new year based upon old stuff. Me personally, views and opinions of Sean. Just cutting out old stuff out of my life, and it's not it didn't start overnight. So it's not going to end overnight. You can't just change it in one day. I mean, if you've been living a life of 30, 40 years connected to certain people, connected to certain places, connected to certain things, you got to start somewhere. And just having that conversation within yourself, doing the man in the mirror, just looking at yourself and saying, hey, look, I don't like what I see. I don't like what's going on in my life. I don't like the things that are connected to me. If you're like me, some of the times, some of the places that I go and some of the people that I connect with, I already know I outgrew them. The Lord then took me to a different place. Not saying that I'm better than anyone. Not saying that I'm better. But sometimes just to be better, and especially when you're connected and you're God connected and you have people that's counting on you, sometimes the discipline within yourself to make everybody else better. And sometimes even those people that you're connected with that's negative, they don't want to release you either. They want to hold on to you too. And so as we go into a new 15, coming from off old 14, sometimes you just got to release it. As I was saying, as I be around some of these people, they're negative, they're beat up, they've been beat up before, they've been hurt, they've been people have done them wrong, mistreated, and so as we, I always say, hurt people hurt people. And so as you get ready to walk off the steps, about to leave the house, before you can even walk and get in your car good, they got something to say, and so sometimes you just got to disconnect yourself, and then you backtrack on them, and they'll say, man, I sure haven't seen Sean in a while. And then they see that when you come back around, they see that shine, they see that glow, because when you're God connected, it comes with a certain glow. You brighten the room up when you light up the room when you come into place. You're the person that when you step in, as a lot of us, and a lot of times when we go into a Christian area or something like that, we forget the way we used to be. And so and a lot of times we don't even like what we used to be. Well, I will be to tell you, always reflect on what you used to be, because it might be a testimony for somebody else. And so as when we stepped into the party back in the day, as I step into the party today, I'm gonna light up the room, because you got to bring a certain energy. God comes with a certain energy. Life just brings a certain energy when you're past what you used to be. And so as you get ready to start your new and a new fresh, you like what you see in the mirror. You're correcting what you see in the mirror, and it's a daily struggle. It's not nothing easy. As I said in the last program, my brother Joe said he had to kill himself so he can live again. And that's beating the man up in the mirror. That's you checking you, and a lot of times in order for community to be better, in order for a nation to be better, we have to be better individuals ourselves. And so as we move forward in 2015, a lot of us went to watch services, and a lot of us went to New Year's Eve services at church, and as we prayed upon several different things, and some of us went to New Year's celebrations, and some of us toasted on new things, you got to see that into fruition. It's all about a faith walk, and you got to believe in what you're saying. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And you have to believe in it. You have to make the 4 steps and the 4 movements. As I move into some new things, and me and my nephew Jamar, I went to see him do his presentation for why he wants to be the next state senator to take Senator Farrick's place and the replacement of Senator Farrick's, because Senator Farrick's, as we all know, he has went on and won the election for the new state treasurer for the state of Illinois. And so as my nephew, he entered the race, and there was 12 of the candidates. And as we sat and my family, we watched his presentation, and he went up to me and said, Uncle Sean, I got 2 different presentations, and which one you think I should talk about? And as I looked over his presentation, I said, well, go with the one that's more from the gut. Go with the one that's more from the heart. Go with the one that's more God connected, that's given a personal touch to it. And so as he went into the one that talked about his personal touch, nobody knows your story like you know your story. Nobody knows the story like the people that are connected with you. And so as I can tell his story, and big shouts out to my sister Cecilia and his stepdad, Lynn Brown, and he's been his dad all his life. And I'll give you a snippet because I've already asked my nephew about the story and me telling his story. You know, as Jamar was, he was a kid. He was, as my sister got pregnant at a young age. She got pregnant at the age of about 15 years old. And you know, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. And I was going to a church at that time down the street from the house, at my mom's house in Urbana. And as I went to choir rehearsal on that Saturday, and I knew something was going on wrong in the family, you know, because when you hear little conversations going on, bits and pieces, and I probably at the time I was really young. I think I was in junior high school, maybe even about to enter high school, and I heard conversations during my sister that I didn't know she was pregnant, but I went to a choir rehearsal. And, you know, we always like to talk about each other. We always like to say stuff negative about each other and can't wait to tell somebody about something negative. And so as I went to that choir rehearsal, I kind of overheard a conversation that said something about my sister and saying that she was pregnant. And I couldn't wait to get out of choir rehearsal to go home and find out from my mom. And so as I went to my older sisters and I seen these conversations going on, and my mom, she got a little perturbed, but she said, hey, look, let's sit down at the table. And as we sat down at the table, we talked about my sister's new pregnancy that she was encountering. And we talked about several different conversations about what are we going to do. And so as my mom, you know, like many other moms that have had to make a choice and help their daughters make a choice, she made a conscious choice. And she said, we're not having abortions in this house. We're going to raise this child. And so what we did is that she said it's just not Cecilia's problem. It's all of our problem. And we're going to deal with it. We're going to move forward. And as we started to raise Jamar, and I pitched in and helped out and took him to daycare as my sister continued to finish high school. And as we raised this young man up, and as my sister got married and Jamar's stepdad became his real dad, and started nurturing this young man. And I remember him as sometimes we evolve around the environment that we're into. And as the kids around him said, hey, man, you know, we're Hill Street. We're part of this. We're part of that. And I said, nephew, because we always got to have an uncle in our life. That is a participant uncle. You know, we got to stop neglecting our roles as an uncle. You know, and I love my nephew. When you love somebody, you tell them the tough stuff. And even as I told my nephew, I said, nephew, I said, we don't do gangs, nephew. And as my nephew, he sat up there and he said, you right on. We don't do gangs. And as he started to tell his kids on the block, because we're influenced by peer pressure. Don't let peer pressure change who you are. You stay who you are. If you're God connected and you're raised from a great family, represent your great family. Don't let the environment change who you are and the people and disconnect you from the people that have groomed you to be who you are. You stay connected. And so, and you make them people proud. And as my nephew grew more, and as he's seen the examples that I was trying to lead, and he was led by an example by me and his dad and my brothers and other family members to be the person that he is today. So when I look back onto my nephew, and I think I put it on a Facebook snippet after that presentation, you know, never let small beginnings control what your destiny is going to be. You never know where God could lead you. So you might start off Hill Street, but you might end up in D.C. You might start off Hill Street, but you might end up the business owner of a corporation. You might start off Hill Street, 5th Street, 4th Street, 3rd Street, Bradley Park, the Village. You might start out somewhere like that, but that don't mean that's where you're going to end. You just move forward. You stay positive. You don't get disgusted. You don't get frustrated. You don't let that hold you back. Don't let that be an anchor. Don't let that be a rut. Don't let that be a reason to complain. Don't let it be an excuse. You know, we don't come up with excuses. We come up with ways to solve a problem. And so as our family set up, they came up with a way to solve a problem. We're very proud of my nephew, Jamar Brown. So he's on school board right now, making great decisions for Unit 4, you know, and helping to assist young people in Unit 4 to move forward. You know, as he will go on, and I hope and I pray that he gets an opportunity to be our next state senator. And if he even loses this time, he got an opportunity in front of him. And even just the experience and the gratitude and just the gracefulness of him being able to have that opportunity to be up in a space like that coming off 4th and Hill, and I felt his sincerity in his speech, because even with me, with sometimes, a lot of times, with our big families, whether if it's the Jones family or the Pettigrew family or the Williams family, me and my buddies from the Joneses, Pettigrew, we always talk about this because we got big families. And a lot of times people will connect us to the negativeness that went on with our name. And they'll say, oh, no, he's a Williams. He can't do that. Well, I'm here to tell you, God can change that. He can change y'all. He can turn that all the way around. So don't hold people back to what somebody did back in the day or what happened back in the day. We moving forward. So as I'm proud of the Joneses, and I'm proud of the Pettigrews, and I'm proud of the Williams for the people that we are today. And so as we move forward within this community, I thank the Lord for us. And I thank the Lord for us being able to move forward, not letting us be held back to what we were back then or what you thought we were back then, because we were great people back then. You just didn't see it. We all evolve when God wants us to evolve. And it's all about timing, So the time is right now for us all to be what God has wanted us and created us to be. As I look at things, and we're moving into, I watched some television the other day, and I talked about this on a previous television program about Bill Cosby and him coming out. People coming out, over 20-some women have came out and talked about Bill Cosby, and talked about him and him in maybe violating or sexually assaulting. Maybe over 20-some women have came out now. And I was sitting back and I'm talking to family and talking to friends about, of the rich and famous. These people were rich and famous. They were young teen stars. And how they have come out 30 and 40 years later to say this guy was a sexual predator. And so as I looked at this and I analyzed this and I look at it, and I always say I look at things in different lenses, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different lenses. And as I look at them talk about Bill Cosby, and a guy that was a television dad to a lot of us back in the 80s. We didn't have our dad, and his wife, Mrs. Huxtable, as I looked at them being a television mom and how she's come to his defense. And as she came to his defense on this past week, and I look up and I say, man, she said that they're attacking his legacy. And I've been thought that within my spirit, it's something more bigger than what we see, what we're hearing. It's about an attack of a legacy, to take you out the history books, to put a stain upon your character. If you know that someone's a sexual predator and they're doing something, the thing for you to do, and especially for the rich and famous, the ones that's supposed to lead us and guide us into a place. So that's why I always say, don't let the people on TV lead and guide you to where you're supposed to be at, because it could be bad examples on television or in our stars. And as these people have waited 30 to 40 years, if this guy was a sexual predator, you should have said something then. Because as we go into some of our other topics, and some of our other topics is about violence throughout our neighborhoods, violence throughout our country. And the only way that these violent crimes can get solved is by somebody saying something. It's by a witness. It's by you standing strong and you saying, hey, look, somebody did something to me. Somebody did something to my neighborhood. Somebody did something to my friend. As I get ready to kind of talk about it, and you guys bear with me as we talk about it, after my last program that we taped, we talked about murders that happened here in Champaign. And at that time, I think it was 5 or 6 murders. And now I've had a personal endeavor with the murder that happened right before Christmas, after our last taping of the last program, of one of my best friends, one of my good friends, one of the guys that I was closely connected with, Rashidi Overstreet, and a great guy. I mean, a great guy. And I put down that, he was a mentor, he was a father, he was a son, he was a brother, he was a great friend. He worked at the Champaign Douglas Branch Library as a security guard, but he took his role way more serious than just that. He was a mentor. He was a father to kids over there. You know, I went to visit Rashidi one day, and he invited me and told me, come on over with a few more friends. And his mom always was a foster parent. So it led him to want to reach out and be a foster parent to kids. And as Rashid is an African-American male, and when we got over there, he introduced me to some white kids he was foster parenting to, and probably about 4 kids. I think it was like 3 young men and a young lady. And those young kids loved him. I mean, he showed them so much love, and he gave them so much nurturing. They had been so scarred and so hurt by adults in the past, but he shielded them from that. And I teared up as I was in his home, you know, just to see the amount of love that he was giving them and the direction that he was giving them and the surrogate dad that he was being for them at the time they needed him the most. And they needed someone to love on them. And he gave them that love, you know, and as he was directing them, you know, hey, you go in there and you get ready to take your shower and you get your pajamas out and you get ready to go to bed. And he provided a nice warm space for them, you know, and I was so proud of my friend Rashidi, you know, and so as I got ready to see him, and next time I saw him at the gym. And as a lot of my friends out there know, my buddy Miel, he passed away, you know, back in 2008. And we used to work out really heavy back then. You know, a lot of us used to work out, and Miel helped me get my bench press up to 325, you know, little guy, benching a lot. And I lost my buddy, you know, at a gym, he had a heart attack at the gym. So as I got ready to reconnect myself years later after that visit at Rashidi's home, I seen Rashidi in the gym. He said, man, you got to get back in this gym. He said, look at these guns, man. I'm growing these guns. I'm working out. I'm staying healthy, man. And you got to stay healthy, Sean. Miel wants you to stay healthy, man. And as I started working out with him every morning, you know, as we went to the gym every morning, and he was an inspiration to me, you know, get around people that are inspirations to you, you know, and as he increased, we started increasing, and I'm continuously working out now through that conversation and that inspirational moment. He has still instilled in me to work out. And so as right before Christmas, you know, Rashidi's life was snuffed out to the hands of an assailant, a murderer, throughout this community. Just like these other young people that we've buried this past summer, you know, no one's saying anything. No one's telling the story. No one's talking, you know, and it was several witnesses. You know, we got to start standing up about our community. We got to stand up for our loved ones. You know, the amount of grief, you know, and I graciously, I tip my hat to this family, Miss Mary, Cece, you know, his daughter, for allowing us in business to be able to memorialize him in that service. And as we went all the way, we went hard me and my staff, trying to make sure that we dotted every I and crossed every T to make sure that my friend had the best memorial service that he could possibly have. And it turned out to be a great service, and just giving him love and giving his family love. Because a lot of times when people lose a loved one, you don't have to say a lot. Just love on them. That says a lot. It's your actions. You know, you don't have to say a lot. Just take them something by. You don't have to say a lot. Just give them a hug. Because the amount of grief to lose such a great person, you know. And so as I was on one of my radio programs, and right after this happened, and someone called in, and then we had some people that were in the studio, and they said, we need more mentors in our community. And I'm thinking to myself, man, he just killed one. Rashidi just was sitting inside Douglas Center Library playing the Monopoly with the kids. He was a security guard helping kids with homework, because if everybody that knew Rashidi knew he always was in college, knew he was always stepping his game up, and he was always trying to do something fresh and do something new. So as in 2015, back in the days, he always created a new resolution for himself. And he always wanted to do something different. So as he was going to be a physical therapist, you know, he would sit and he would add education at the library to young people that needed help. I remember when a young kid, he said, man, got a raggedy bike, and my bike don't work. You know what Rashidi did? He took his own personal money, and he went and bought that young man a bike. And that will last with that young man forever, resonate with him forever. That somebody outside of his family showed him some love. And that's what it's all about. It's be out creating love, one toward another, being a friend. And as we lost our good friend, you know, during that time, you know, I'm helping and I'm working with my own friends that are we're in a close-knit circle. And so as we all been knowing each other 20, 30, 40 years, you know, I always tell my buddies, you know, we don't need no new friends, because it's enough of us to love on each other, because we've been knowing each other ever since we were babies, 20, 30, 40-year friends, you know, and we all come from every different walk of life, you know. All of us didn't start at the same place. Some of us had parents, some of us didn't have parents. You know, some of us had, you know, each other to rely on. And as I'm hugging on my friends and loving on my friends, and me being in the funeral home business, and what I would always tell the viewers out there is that death is never for the deceased. It's always for the living. So it's always for us to get something out of it. It's always something for us to get this newfound, you know, new resolution or a new movement for moving forward in our lives. So as I told some of my buddies, you know, what this should do for you now, get connected with your families. You know, be that dad that you're supposed to be. You know, take a little bit out of Rashidi's, you know, page of his life and start adding it to our own lives. You know, be that block dad. You know, be that great husband. You know, be that great mentor, that great friend. You know, that great son. You know, and that's what we got to do. That's what we have to do. You know, God has given us an opportunity, you know, to wake up another day afresh. And every day is a newfound faith and freshness and a newness. You know, just don't wait it to be New Year's Eve and then you say, oh, it's new. No, every day that you got life in your breath and your body, it's something new. And it's a new day. You know, old things are passed away, so forget about tomorrow, you know. And so forget about what happened yesterday. Forget about that. That was yesterday. Let's start afresh today. And as we're starting a new year based upon old stuff, you know, a lot of that old stuff builds us up to be the new person that we are. It's called an experience. Ain't nothing wrong with having a bad experience. You know, as we grow and we mold ourselves, a lot of times our newness is based upon an old experience. Something old that happened, something hurtful that happened, you know, something that, you know, a death, you know, like my buddy Miel or like my friend Rashidi or maybe a Kiwan or something different. That's what starts a new movement. That's what starts a new dialogue. That's what starts a new us. That's what starts a new community. That's what starts us to acknowledge the things that went wrong and start making them right, you know. But we got to acknowledge things are wrong. So as our community helps our law enforcement to solve these issues that have went on with these murders that have happened in the community. And as I listened to 1400 this morning, and I've listened to a lot of our the listening audience on 1400, and they try to single out certain individuals within the community, certain leaders, like our chief of police, and say, you know, well, Chief Cobb, it's his responsibility to do this and do that and do this. Yeah, it is to a certain extent. But we're part of this community. It's our family members. It's people that we're connected with. It's families that we're connected with. And it's guys that's connected to our families that we done brought down here from Chicago. And a lot of times they wasn't no good in Chicago. That's why they come to our community. But they come down here with the wrong attitude. They come down here not trying to start afresh. They come down here based upon old stuff. And they're still trying to reinvent themselves off old stuff instead of starting anew and afresh. So we know they still them old selves, their old ways, and they brought them to Champaign. But instead of us being the aunties and the uncles and the cousins and the friends telling them, man, don't come down here with that old stuff. Come down here with some new stuff. And if you come down here off your old stuff, then I'm going to let everybody know you on your old stuff. You know, stop condoning stuff. Come up with excuses, you know, or well, it's my cousin, or I don't want to say nothing. No, You know, the reason why a lot of us in them big families change is because we changed. And we start telling people in our big families, hey man, that ain't right. I remember being on the block a lot of times and people called me this and that because I didn't want to be involved in that. I knew God had his hands on me. And I knew that from Miss Essie teaching me, you know, coming up as the old people started to mold you and say something. You know, always connect yourself with people that's going to be able to tell you some things and be willing to listen. You know, and as people started telling me things, and I was telling some of my family members on Hickory Street, I said, hey, man, that wasn't cool. That wasn't right. You shouldn't have said that. No, you shouldn't have did that. Now, we can love on you, but we still got to tell you the tough stuff. And that's what made us better. And when I look at some of my family members and I get tickled pink when I see them, I say, man, look at that old dude doing some new stuff. And then they'll say, man, Sean, I sure appreciate that, man, because I wasn't right then. And as some of my family members told me, man, you know, I was working off old stuff. I was working off old hurts, habits, and hang-ups. You know, a lot of times we're working off old habits, hurts, habits, and hang-ups. You know, and we circling around, we spinning our wheels right there off old hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And nobody's telling us, man, that's old stuff, man. You know, as we're afraid to tell somebody, hey, come on and ride off me for a little bit. Why don't you come on and go to this church service? Why don't you come on and go to this community meeting? Why don't you come watch this here new show with me? You know, something positive. You know, as we get ready to brace ourselves tonight and get ready to watch a movie that's called Selma. And it's based upon Martin Luther King's story and other people that were connected to Martin Luther King during his march in Selma and the change that happened in Selma that trickled other different movements and other different things that happened within our history, you know, within Martin Luther King. And we're getting ready to go into a Martin Luther King celebration here in April. And with his birthday and then through February and other different times of the year that we're going to acknowledge Martin Luther King and civil rights movement and things of that nature. So as we get ready to move forward within those, you know, as we reflect and Selma, and I go back to what Mother Hattie always say, if you don't know where you've been, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. And she always plant that within my head and plant that seed. And I understand that totally, Mother, you know. But a lot of times we can't base our new stuff upon old stuff. We can't let it make us, because the devil here to kill, steal, and destroy. So what he will do, he'll make you get stuck on old stuff to keep you from seeing what God got for you in the future. So as we get ready to watch a movie like Selma, he'll make us get racial. And I talked to my girl, and I talked to a bunch of my friends and people earlier, and I said, hey, man, I said, you know, the powers to be that's in control of putting out what's on our television, what's on our radios, what we listen to, what evolve us, and what we dwell upon, what's on the internet. I said, the timeliness coming off of Ferguson, you know, Mike Brown, or coming off of New York City, you know, Staten Island, Eric Gardner. You know, the timeliness of this. Do you think it's something that's in the mix? Do you think it's something that's the devil's in the details? You know, with the timeliness, with the racial tensions that's already, that's blanking in our country right now. You know, do you think this is going to be positive, or do you think it's going to be negative? You know, is it going to be helpful, you know, to us to move forward? You know, and I don't want to discredit any of our history or the reflection of our history. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that we're supposed to be healing. And as we try to heal, opening up old wounds, opening up old things, will it help us move forward? And a lot of times, it's our mind. You know, it's mind, body, and soul. You know, and if your mind think a certain way, then your body gonna move the way your mind thinking. You know, and as your mind is stuck, you know, and I know how I felt when I watched Roots, as I watch Mandingo, as I watch Mississippi Burning, as I'm going to get ready to watch Selma. You know, what I'm going to do, you know, what I'm going to do is pray. God, after I watch this here, help me be able to move forward. Let me be positive after this. Not let me be negative after this. Don't let me look at everybody else because they're a different race and look at them crazy, because I understand, and let them be able to depict and show that it wasn't just African-American people that helped us move forward. That it was Caucasian people that helped us move forward too. It was Asian people that seen our struggle. It was Muslim people that seen our struggle. It was people that had been hurt that seen our struggle and that said, no more stolen lives. So it was collective effort. It was a national effort, and I always say that I wish everybody could go visit D.C. I always wish everybody could go to the Smithsonian Institute because they have several different exhibits there that we can look at, that we can tangibly, physically see some of the tangible stuff, some of the actual scenes, some of the actual stuff from the civil rights movement. Not just hearing it from one author's perspective, not just seeing it from one writer's perspective, one producer's perspective, or one somebody that's in charge of everything that want us to think a certain way. Because I always remember the devil's in the detail, and he's here to kill, steal, and destroy, and he don't want to see you move forward. He don't want to see your family move forward. He don't want to see you in 2015 be successful. He wants you to be stuck in 1968. And as I listen to 1400 or any other radio station or deal with different people within the community or other communities or watch a CNN or any other television program, it's folks stuck in 1968 that ain't moved forward. And what they do, they part of gun movements that end up saying, oh, we're bracing ourselves for a racial throwdown. We're finna fight power, fight power with power. We're finna get a part of a militia group. We're finna do something, because the country's doing this and they're doing that. Why you can't be a positive vessel to help our country move forward? I mean, anybody can get negative. When this happened to my friend Rashidi, and as I spoke that night, and as I spoke on our television program, and we had a great celebration of life later on that evening for his family and friends. And as I spoke that night, I'm tired of seeing my friends get murdered. I'm tired of seeing our community go through the things that we're going through, And so I wish everybody feel the same pain that I feel, where that you could see through the lens that through the lens that I'm seeing it through, and the heartfeltness that I'm feeling. But when a lot of times we come up with excuses for why we do things. So as I watch First 48 or I watch something tragical that's happening throughout our communities or this, that, and other, because it's just not a Champaign thing. This stuff is happening around the country. It's families grieving around the country. Our lives might start out this morning and start out happy-go-lucky. We prayed, we did this, and we did that. We did positive things. We got our kids off to school, and bam, something tragic happened. Somebody that's been hurt. Somebody that maybe didn't have a father figure or a mentor in their life. Somebody that never got the type of love that they thought they should have. So now what they do is that hurt people hurt people. So now I got to go strap up, and a lot of times I talk about my gun laws and things of that and other. Man, criminals don't care about the law. That's why they breaking laws. And we come up with more laws to keep the citizen from having a gun, and the criminal don't care about a law. That's why they breaking laws. So then we'll put more pressure on the citizen, the productive citizen, from protecting themselves against people that's out here that's hurt. Hurt people hurt people. And they take good mentors out of our lives. But the only defense that we have is to stand up as a collective unit, as a community. And then we have to acknowledge that so-and-so hurt, man. We need to watch him. We need to start loving on him. We need to get him the mental help that he needs. Because there's so many times that we've been beat down so long that it's mind, body, and soul. We mentally beat down. Our spirits are broken. So then what we do is we pray on the productive citizen. We pray on the mentor that's out there. We pray on what the kids need. We pray on the new coach. We pray on the new people that's out there that God has placed in our lives to help build us up. Because the devil don't want them type of people out there. Because them people up there to build us up, to fill in the gaps where we're broken at. And a lot of times we're broken. So a lot of these guys that's out there doing this stuff, and it's not just guys now. There's ladies out there too. That's out there that's harboring, that's being enablers to these type of guys. Letting them, the Lord then blessed us to have our own place. And we're building our families up, single moms out there. And we're building our place up. And then we bring some guy just to have a guy. And we letting them harbor in our place where we know that it's not even allowed to even have somebody that's not even connected with you or a guy that's supposed to be in the home. And we harbor these guys in our homes. And nobody tells us, hey, that's wrong. You know, it might even be a manager, a property manager there that know that these people are staying in there. But they let us live these isolated, private, communities that's dysfunctional. And that's a part of our community. I was watching First 48 yesterday, and the guy said, "Oh, we seldom go to this motel. We know that this motel there is drug infested. I started years ago, and I was an undercover agent at this motel, and we always know that this type of crime happens down there." What? You're an enabler. If you know that this happens down there, well, let's get rid of that. Why are we studying letting people fall through a trap? See, but it let me know that the devil's in the details. It's bigger than what we're thinking. It's like when I was sitting on that certain board, and I was telling them, communities thrive off the dysfunctionality of people, because it brings more resources, it brings more funding. We got to stop doing it for the funding. We don't want no more funding. We want to be independent. We don't want no more funding because my buddy getting killed. We don't want more funding because we got more people on drugs. We got new drugs like methamphetamines and what we now name ISIS. We got new drugs out there called Mollies. And we're pumping up more alcohol, and we're making that more attractive to our young people and even to our old people. We're creating more vices, more gambling, more this, more that, keeping us from being productive. It saddens me to see this type of stuff happening. But it has to sadden all of us to be able to make a change. We all have to get hurt when our neighbor is hurt, when our friend, our fellow constituents are hurt, or our fellow man, our fellow woman is hurt. It grieved me so hard to see my other friends grieving, lifelong friends. And we all thought that we were going to grow old together. We sat in the rooms and we sat in spaces and talked about everything. Grandkids, kids, what we going to be doing when we get old. But life is not built around that. It's not based upon that. We're all not going to get old together. That's what life has showed me, So we have to love on each other for the moment. We're all not going to make it to 80. 90 years old. The devil's snuffing us out of here at the age of 30, at the age of 40. And that's just the life and the environment and just the society that we're dealing with. And as we create that, I remember a message that pastor, preached one Sunday, and he preached and he said, how can we talk about going to heaven when we didn't live a life in hell? So how are we going to rest in peace when we didn't live in peace? Most of us haven't lived in any type of peace. We lived in corruption and dysfunctionality and just a disarray of life. Life just been crumbling all around us. We never can find any place where, we have small snippets of successfulness, where this might have happened right, but a whole bunch of stuff that went wrong, and then what that does, it starts building you up to be frustrated, negative. As we went to the gym this morning and we left the gym And we went to the gas station as we normally do. And as we walked into the place, you know, it was just a spirit in the place. You could cut it with a knife, you know, as you looked at some of the patrons that was in there, you know, and they didn't have that fresh, you know, newfound smile on their face, you know, that God then woke me up to a fresh day. It looked like God then beat me up last night and I woke up to this again this morning. and I don't care who see it. This just me. And I'm out here to hurt somebody. And I'm going to check me somebody. And I wish somebody would tell me God is good. I wish somebody would tell me that things going to be different from me, you know. And that's just the way we walk around sometimes, you know. We got to beat that spirit down and then get a fresh new spirit. Get a fresh new spirit, you know. And so as we move forward in 2015, you know, putting old stuff behind us and starting to move forward, you know. And so many times it's hard to do. It's not an easy task. It's not an easy task because we connected to people. And as we're connected to people, you know, they base their lives upon old stuff, you know, and we get around us because we can't be on an island by ourselves. We can't be a hermit, you know. And so many times, you know, folks want you to be something that, you know, that you ain't there yet, you know. And I've talked to my own family and friends and my personal family, you know. And so many times people want you to, you know, be here and be there and be there. It's all about steps, you know. And we all want to be at a place over here, you know. But as I was listening to someone talk about New Year's resolutions, you know, don't say something that's far-fetched, you know. By the end of the year, I'm gonna have $2 million. Well, I mean, if you ain't doing $2 million worth of stuff, don't expect to have $2 million, you know. Oh, well, I play the lottery every day. Well, you know, don't think that that is a pie gonna jump out the sky. A lot of times we have to put forth the effort to be able to get what we're trying to get to. You know, you can't do old stuff and you're trying to get new stuff, you know. And that's just the way it is. You know, a lot of times we want a new car, but we haven't even took care of the old car. We don't even check the oil on the old car. We wait till we get all the way to E and the light blinking, and then don't think our fuel pump gonna go out. That's what you're gonna do to your new car. When God do bless you with the new car, are you gonna treat it like that? Or are you gonna start doing some new stuff to your new car? You're gonna start washing your new car. You're gonna start loving on your new car. Now I ain't saying, you know, because a lot of times people say, well, they just overprotective of their new stuff, or they love on it too much. And when you love on something too much, God will take that away from you. And I've heard all kinds of different stuff, you know, all different kinds of myths and stuff that we based our lives upon, you know. I almost thought of the name that our older folks call it, and you know, but we base a lot of things on what we were taught, you know. But that don't stick your old life to a bunch of old stuff, you know, than what we were taught. Because sometimes we only being taught stuff because that's the way they were taught. I remember listening to a story of a young lady preparing Thanksgiving dinner. And then when her mom came over, she said, well, why did you put the turkey in that smaller pan? And she said, well, I seen you put the turkey in that smaller pan. She said, well, I only put the turkey in that small pan because that's all I had. You got bigger pots. You got bigger pans. And a lot of times we got bigger stuff out there, but we only doing what we seen. We only doing what we taught. A lot of times it's like what I talked about in the beginning. Change your people, places, and things. Ask somebody else new about a new recipe. How do I do this? You know, we raising our kids off of what we seen somebody else do. You know, we have to sit up and we have to try to embrace new ideas, new things, new people, new places, new things. And that creates healing. You know, that creates a thing afresh. You know, so many of us were so traumatized. And even me, being in the funeral home business, man, such a tough funeral when it comes down to burying your friend, your loved one. And so when I talk to some of my friends is that when you have this type of trauma happen, you're traumatized, you know. And so as you try to move forward, you know, you try to move forward off old stuff. You try to move forward off of what didn't happen. You know, you're trying to move forward, but you can't move forward because you're still stuck on old stuff. And that ain't the way our buddy will want us to live the rest of our lives. So what I told him, I said, man, we all need to take us a vacation. We all need to get us an uplift, a new fresh. You know, and sometimes a vacation just do it for you. Sometimes a road trip just do it for you. Sometimes seeing something just different do it for us. Seeing some new inspirational people just do it for us. You know, picking up something fresh, something new, just do it for us. Trying something we never tried before, just do it for us. We got to do something that's going to do it for us, you know. And so as we get ready to get ready to go into new elections, we get ready to go into some new referendums, as we go into a new school year, a new school semester, of the finish of a year, you know, we got to try something new. You know, don't do what you did last semester. Try something new. If them grades didn't look right last semester and they old, start afresh, start anew. You can't do in 2015 what you was doing in 2014, and you trying to get to a place of success. You trying to get to that $2 million goal that you're trying to have. You got to be able to do $2 million worth of stuff. You know, you want some new things in your life. Do some new stuff. You know, and so as we get ready to close on this program, I just encourage us, you know, starting a new year based upon old stuff, 2015, old things are passed away. Behold, all things are new. And I believe that deep in my spirit. Behold, all things are new. And we are new. We're new creatures in Christ. We're new creatures that's on this earth. We're new creatures in this community. We're going to start doing some new stuff in 2015. So people that's tearing our community down, look out, because we're going to start doing some new stuff. We're going to push you back to your community where you was doing old stuff. We're going to change you in this community to do some new stuff. Because we got new resources out there. We got new people that's out there. We are fresh. We are new. And we're going to start acknowledging our community that we love, that we grew up in. And we're going to start healing some of these families. And we're going to start telling. We're going to stop this stop snitching campaign. And we're going to start a start telling campaign of doing something new. We're going to start acknowledging when somebody's not right in our community. We're going to start saying that our community is positive, productive. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And we're going to start saying we got a great community. We got great things going on in our community, because we're not lying. We're not lying. We got great things going on in our community. But you got to be a part of this greatness in order to resolve this. We got to be a part of this, you know. And in order to be a part of that, you know, get from off that couch. Get from out them four walls. Get from out that darkness. Get from around those negative folks. People, places, and things is what I call it. Hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And all you hurt people out there, start healing yourselves. Start healing yourselves. Stop being hurt and hurting other folks. Stop doing our folks like that. And we're going to stop letting you do us like that. We're going to stop being wimps, stop being chumps. We're going to stop that. We're going to stop being a community of that. Because our old Douglas Center, we didn't go for that. We stood up and we took care of our own. We took care of our center. We looked out for our kids. We looked out for our seniors. We looked out for the community that we were that the Lord had blessed us with. And we started creating different creative, positive exercise and activities for us to be able to love on each other. And that's what we're going to do in 2015. We're going to love on each other. And we're going to help each other move forward. And we're going to help our families heal. So I thank God for everybody that watched this program every Sunday night and say, Sean, I watch you every Sunday night. You stay positive. You stay productive. Let's move forward in 2015. Old things are passed away. And behold, all things are new. Peace.